Hello, welcome back to another video on Sports Undefeated. Today, we're going to talk about the big matchup tomorrow in college basketball. Number one going against number two. Who's going to take it? And I got everything laid out for you. Everything that's going to go down Saturday between those two teams. Everything that's going to go down besides those two games on Saturday. And we got a big matchup tonight against UCLA, Indiana. And we got a good matchup on Sunday, too. But also, we'll be taking a look at teams that are on the bubble and see where do they stack up against getting their chances in. And yeah, that's it. And let's start talking about it. All right, so we got teams on the bubble that we need to talk about and the Big Power Five conferences so far. So we're gonna go through the Big Power Five conferences and figure out who stacks among the teams that could make it and the teams that are gonna fall just a little short. All right, let's start talking about the SEC. Obviously, the big conference this year in college basketball. They have a projected 13 teams out of 16 to make it into the tournament, with one of those teams kind of on the bubble being Arkansas, I think is a team that's on the bubble right now. Yeah, because the teams that are obviously gonna make it in: Bama, Florida, Auburn, Tennessee. I think Ole Miss has got Mississippi State and Kentucky. A&M too. Those are my 8 certified ones that are definitely gonna get into the tournament, without a doubt. Missouri should also be in. I think even though their team is ranked right now, I don't think they'll be ranked at the end of the season. They're one of those teams that can do something, but not that well, I think. Oklahoma is a tough team to talk about. Who's had such a good uprise, but they just came crashing down earlier in the year. Later in the year, I mean. Everything they've gotten blown out, everything. They still got a couple games to win. They got LSU coming up. If they can win that one, I think they'll fairly be in. It's just, I think they're going to get in no matter what. Is it going to be a high seed? No. I think maybe more like a 10 or 11. But they're going to be a good 10 or 11 to watch. Don't count them out at all. And Texas is hard to see if they're going to make it. Texas started off strong earlier in the year. Um, had a big loss to Ohio State. But then they kind of they had that lopsided loss to Alabama earlier, and they're just not good against the top 100 opponents. They're 6 for 10, but they still have a chance that will help them because they're in the SEC. With so many good teams in the SEC and how hard everyone's schedule is, every team in there has a decent chance at getting if you've been ranked at one point. Texas was ranked at the start of the season. We're going to talk about these two teams that were ranked at one point: Vanderbilt, Georgia. Basically, Vanderbilt had a hot streak going on. They beat back-to-back ranked teams, went from 17% to 49%. And, I mean, they're pretty good against top 100 teams. And when they can beat ranked teams, however, they have the fourth hardest schedule going on besides a couple of teams in the SEC that have a little bit of a harder schedule. They have to go against Tennessee next week. I don't know how it's going to go. I have to play Tennessee. But Vandy and Georgia have two things that I really like. I feel like they were pretty hot teams at one point, and they just fell and burnt. Like every team has almost done SEC. Not every team, but the teams that cannot stay and hang around. I think Missouri might do that near the end of the season too. I just never seen their team be has one of those really good ones. Um, But yeah, Georgia's a 37 pick to get in. They had a 99 earlier in the year when they were ranked, but now it's a 37. So, do we think they're gonna get in? No. They got Missouri tomorrow. They can beat Missouri, which is very possible actually. I'll get into that later. They could they could succeed and get back into tournament status. If they win against Missouri, I think they're in. And Vanderbilt, I think they're gonna get in. I can't lie. I think if they just get one more, they're in. And then Arkansas. Arkansas is the hard one. As I can see everyone, Vandy, I can see Georgia even getting in. Arkansas is the one I kind of cut it at. I don't think Arkansas is going to get in. And they're 1 for 6 in the SEC. If they would beat Bama, I don't care. I think they should have gotten no matter what. But they didn't beat Bama. They have to go against A&M. They still have such a uphill climb to go against in the SEC. I don't think it's gonna happen. Boogie Flynn's out for the rest of the year. He was kind of that guy that got it rolling, and now they have to play backups. It's hard. It's hard to watch it, but I don't think they're gonna get there. But yeah, that's it for the SEC. South Carolina LSU, they're not gonna get. No way they don't. There's no way they're gonna. Let's go Big Ten. I think locks are easily Purdue, who's been ranked consistently throughout. Wisconsin, Michigan, Michigan State. Yeah, Maryland. I think got Illinois, UCLA, and I'll put Oregon through. They were having a pretty consistent run. Ohio State had a big win against Texas to start of the year. They were able to beat Washington by a lot. Pretty good. They gotta go against three straight games. They gotta play Michigan on Sunday on CBS. I think that's gonna be a good ranked game to watch out for. A good rivalry game. So maybe Ohio State could beat Michigan in some capacity. If their football program can't, maybe their basketball program can. That'd be good to see. I think I'm excited for Ohio State to get a chance to maybe take a crack at Michigan here. Nebraska, 69% chance, and here's why I'm gonna say this is BS. They're gonna get in. I think Nebraska can easily get in. You always can get hot. They won six straight at one point, then lost four straight also. So God, okay, they were able to go and win from a six-game losing streak and then win four straight. But unfortunately, losing to Maryland recently kind of stopped it. But I still think they're gonna get it, and they are good against Northwestern. I think it should be an easy win for them. I could see them getting in easily as long as Ohio State. Not even a 69% chance. I still think they can get it. Indiana is right across the line. At the start of the year, they looked amazing, looked phenomenal. Someone like a Oklahoma type person. They were able to get that win against Michigan State though. That's why I'm saying maybe they do have a shot. That win against Michigan State, that Michigan State win would have been so huge. Tom Izzo becoming the winningest coach in Big Ten history, if you would have got that. Didn't get it. Indiana was able to hold up. And now, but with Mike Woodston's final year at Indiana, it's still, again, I said this in one of my earlier videos, it's still been shaky, still been icy. Whenever there's something that's covering up a team's view at stuff, it's never been good. Um, the only way Indiana I think gets in is they leapfrog Nebraska. Nebraska should be able to just stay consistent. I don't see a place in where Nebraska doesn't stay here. Indiana's got UCLA tonight. Let's see if they can pull off something. If a wins here, they can start trajectory going up, and maybe they can get there. As for that, I don't see any other teams getting in. Like UCLA, I mean not UCLA, USC, 15% chance. I don't even want to say anything about them. Long shot to get in. And you have long shots like Iowa and Northwestern Rutgers. Don't get me started about Rutgers. That's one of my basketball teams, but with Villanova too. They're not gonna get in. Rutgers' chances have been shot since the start of the year, and I don't. It's just so sad to see that. So we have two top, maybe top five draft picks on our team, and we couldn't build around that. And we're not gonna get that chance again. They're gonna commit for the draft no matter what. So what are we supposed to do now? It's just unfortunate. So yeah, Rutgers 1% chance to get in, and it's not gonna happen. So yeah, uh, Big Ted's stuff's pretty foiled out, I think, unless Indiana can make some leapfrogging happen. Big 12. Big 12 hottest conference. Recently I say that in my last video that they were the hottest conference, and what do you know? They have been the hottest conference. Good one to watch tomorrow. We got Houston, Arizona. Big matchup. We'll talk about a little later. Um, Locks right now. Houston, Iowa State, Texas Tech, Kansas, and Arizona. Easily the five locks, I think, obvious. I think these are top five teams in the Big 12, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know who else could definitely be fitting in there, but definitely the top five, I think. And they're all gonna get it no matter what happens now. Baylor. Baylor is like a middle in the pack in the Big 12. They always could put up a good fight against teams. Their game really got shut off versus Houston though when Luka was playing. I mean, that was not going to be a good game anyway, so it didn't really matter. Like if it was a Auburn versus Alabama and then they showed off for that, like I would have been mad. But it wasn't even close. But in my case, Baylor's gonna get them. I don't think they won't. They're always a team that they can get in and do something. I don't think they will this year, but I think it's gonna be good to have their presence there. BYU, I don't know. What they're winning against West Virginia, good. They're a bubble rival. I think those two teams are going to be stacking up against each other to see which one of them will get in over there. BYU, it's got to make a couple work though. They got to play Kansas State, and Kansas State has been hot. Kansas State is the hottest team currently in college basketball. They're not anywhere close to getting ranked though. I love Kansas State. This is where they get hot, but I'll talk about them in a little bit. But we'll see. If Kansas State can win another one against BYU, I think it will definitely jump up their chances. However, BYU's got to do some work here, and it'll start on Saturday when they go against Kansas State. They have 65% chance of getting in. West Virginia, 57% chance of getting in. This is good for them. Their loss to BYU, though, has now said they've lost their last 7 out of 10. Um, Not good for a team that has beaten some pretty good teams like Kansas overall. Um, it doesn't help when you have to go against Baylor tomorrow, Texas Tech, and BYU. It's just gonna be a little tricky to beat all three of them. If they can get one of them, if they can get one of those wins, I think maybe it'll help them out. Obviously, the Texas Tech one would be big for them. They could get it, but I think they could definitely get in. Definitely one of those 10 seed teams that could definitely get in. Cincinnati at the start of the year was in my top four to make it all. Has fallen off ever since. They went against one hard team. Villanova lost. We haven't seen them look good ever since. They just don't. I don't think they deserve to get in. They're 28% chance to get in. They shouldn't get in. Now, a team that could get in, that's really having a low chance, Kansas State. Here's why Kansas State could get in. 14% chance, but still could get in. They 40% chance. They first off, conference tournament wide open for them. If they could get through and get the win there, perfect. They're through. However, I don't think they're going to be able to do that. The field's just too high. However, think of their resume. They have the 18th hardest schedule in the country right now. They have they have over 500 on top 50 teams in the country, and they've won 6 in a row. I think if you look at that and see the teams they beat Kansas, they've beaten who should they beaten? They just beat Zona earlier a couple of days ago. You gotta at least take a glance at this team. They're not like it's a long shot to get it, but you have to at least take a look at their resume, see everything they have on the table, and see why they should get it. It's a long shot. If they can win against BYU tomorrow, I think you gotta at least take a look. Just as a long shot to put them in. Will they get in? I don't know. Would I like to see them in? Definitely. So just keep Kansas State in the back of your head. Teams are looking Arizona State, UCF, TCU, Utah. I don't see them getting in, unfortunately. I was really keen on Arizona State at the start of the year. Not anymore. I don't think it's gonna happen. Next up, ACC. I dread to talk about the ACC. It's honestly just hard to talk about it because there's a level of how many good teams are there. If you're not Duke, Clemson, or Louisville, you're not good. And that's the top three big dogs. I don't care. Even I'm kind of cutting a line at Louisville. Maybe Clemson and Duke are the top two. So yeah, I will say about Clemson. Please don't write off Clemson again this year. Last year, really good in the tournament. This year, I think they're gonna be really good. They're known for killing teams that have amazing that are ranked. I think they can always put up a fight against anyone. So don't write them off this year. I think they'll be a team to watch out for. And coming up, my next video, I'm actually going to be doing some hot takes about what's going to happen in the March Madness this year. Duke, I didn't hear some nice things about you, and honestly, I agree with them. But we'll get into that in the next video because Duke, your loss to Clemson might have told me something that I need to know. But let's get into teams that should get in. SMU, I guess. I don't really have anything good to talk about any of the ACC teams. if you watch any ACC game, it's going to be a blowout by 30, or it's going to be really close but a low scoring game. That's it. SMU, I think, could get in just because they're probably the fourth best team in the ACC. Everyone else is just no. Like I'm not even taking UNC to even get close. So SMU, I think they'll get in comfortably. I don't think they won't get in. They won five straight and they've won eight out of their nine last games. I think they're gonna get there, even though their resume is kind of iffy. The everyone's resume in the ACC is kind of iffy because there's no good teams in there. Sorry, not sorry. Moving right along though, Wake Forest, no, it's not gonna happen. I don't see it happening. They blew a 16-point lead earlier against Florida State and earlier this Wednesday. It's just not gonna happen. I don't see it. I'm sorry. And then Clemson, whoops, sorry, not Clemson, North Carolina. When they played Clemson earlier this week, if they could have won this game, I thought they could be back on track. I think the committee would have favored. They want to see UNC play. They want to see UNC play. However, they came up short, lost big, and now when they had an 85% chance to get in, it's all the way down to a 19, just at the start of the year. And there's no way they can get in because you can't build your resume when you're playing teams that are horrible. The only way I could see them getting in is if they beat Duke. They have to play again later this year on March 8th. But the next team they have to play against Syracuse, there's no resume builder if they beat Syracuse. So I don't see any hope for UNC. I know a lot of people want to see them play, but not the year. Wait till next year, honestly. And then Pitt. I don't really want to talk about Pitt. The resume is not that good. Like I said, they lost. They had a big lead against SMU, blew it. So I don't really think they deserve to get in. I mean, when you're up by that much and you're able to lose by 20, yeah, no. Don't. There's no spot for them open. I'm sorry. Um, and teams that are looking outside in Stanford, Florida State, don't even think about it. The ACC is a hard conference to look at this year, and I don't like it at all. So yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if actually I'm gonna say it for my hot take video, what I'm gonna say, but just just understand I don't like the ACC that much. Then next up we have to talk about the final Power Five conference, the Big East, who rough one. If you look at the Big East, there's this is basically the totem pole of the Big East. Yeah, your four good teams. You got Marquette, St. John's, uh, you got Creighton, and you got UConn. That's the top four, but they all could beat each other at any time. St. John's beat Marquette early in the year. Um, Marquette's beaten in I think Creighton on here at least once. UConn's beat St. John's. St. John's has beaten UConn. Creighton's beaten UConn earlier this year. UConn also beat Creighton earlier this year. Marquette, I think, beat UConn earlier this year. I don't want to quote myself on too much right now, but those are only four that are definitely. No one else besides Villanova has a good shot at getting in. I'm gonna talk about Villanova. I don't think they have a good chance at getting in at all. They did just beat St. John's though, which will help build their resume up. And when they play Marquette next week, I think I'm trying to go to that one just to watch it. If they could beat them, I think they could get in. I think they have a just to take a glance at their ranked wins. I think they could definitely have a shot to get in. Um, I think that was a good resume booster to beat St. John's. I don't know. They still have a long shot to get in. They still have a chance. They have to play Providence tomorrow. However, if they beat Marquette, it'll at least get them to take a glance. They only have a 20% chance of getting in. I'm not going to talk about Xavier. I don't think they have a shot at all. Their chances have been blown out, unfortunately. And Butler, Georgetown, Providence, no chances for. All right, we're talking some mid majors. I guess I'm going to talk about a little bit. Nothing too much to talk about though. I guess there's a couple teams that will be mentioned. We'll start with Memphis St. Mary's. Obviously, two mid majors are going to get in. They've had amazing years. When it should have been Gonzaga's year instead of St. Mary's, St. Mary's stepped up and are going to sort of over Gonzaga. Gonzaga's still going to get in. No way they won't get in. But Gonzaga's chances have been shot since they can't beat any team that's actually good this year. Gonzaga I heard people saying this was Gonzaga's year because they're in such an easy conference. You should win every game. That's not the team this year. I would be shocked if they got pretty early this year because they can't play teams that are high levels towards them. So, yeah, I don't see it. Another team to talk about Utah State. I like Utah State this year. They're a team that it would be. They have to get. I feel like they're 9-3 against top 100 teams. They're in the Mountain West Conference, which is a conference that's not that good this year, but have some top dogs in there, like New Mexico, like who else is in there? I think I know New Mexico, and I think Nevada. Don't quote me on that, honestly, actually. But New Mexico, like I'm gonna talk about them too. They're both gonna get in. They got play each other on Sunday though, so whoever gets that's gonna have the higher seed to get in. They'll both get in. Don't worry. Someone we gotta talk about that. Drake Bulldogs. I think Drake Bulldogs. Their whole story with bringing their D2 coach over after their old coach went to Michigan. They brought in this whole D2 lineup, got all their starters in there, and they had a hot start to the year, being one of those teams that were undefeated. They've I think they've won 11 straight at this point. I think it's not even close. It's just like it's unfair, honestly. That I mean, the last time that we've seen Drake in the tournament, it's always either Drake or it's always either Bradley. It's trying to be Drake. They're gonna play Bradley at 2 p.m. I think they could be a sneaky pick, obviously, to make it go far. Like as a 12 seed, there's always a good 12 seed that has some hype. It's always someone like a Drake or someone's always that's in the Atlantic 10, which we'll talk about a little later. But I love Drake as a team, and I hope they can do something, make a little bit of a run this year. Who else am I going to talk about? Not really too many other teams to talk about too much. I'm going to just skip all these, and we're going to move on because I think we're good. But that's really work on the bubble that teams have to do to get in. But yeah, I just want to talk about the games of the week and see how everyone's going to do. Let's see, and let's talk about predictions for this week. Back. All right, so we are back to talk about games of the week. Mostly I'm going to be talking about Saturday games, but we're going to talk about this big one tonight. We got UCLA, we got Indiana. They're going to be playing at Indiana tonight in Big Ten matchup at 8 o'clock. Both teams are good. Like I said, UCLA kind of has they're kind of pretty much in. Like I said earlier, Indiana has to start winning now to start building their resume for why they should even get in. If they're going to get in, they have to leapfrog at least one of those uh, Big Ten teams like Nebraska. So for them to get in, I think it's going to take a little bit. They're playing at home today. They're a really good team at home. I feel like they always can get the crowd going, and they always can play that atmosphere. With them being one of those a little more of the quicker teams, and you said it's always been a slow team. They've always been a slow team. Um, yeah. So I think though, for my pick tonight, um, I'm gonna take UCLA. I'm gonna be so honest with you why I'm taking UCLA. I just don't think I think Indiana will put up a fight. UCLA should be able to take it though. In my opinion, UCLA has always been better on the offense. This is gonna be offense versus defense. If you can't, Indiana's defense amazing. UCLA's offense amazing. UCLA is a team that plays slower. I think if UCLA can take control, get the clock how they need to play it, they'll win. Indiana's got to step it up on offense if they want to win, and I don't think they will. You have to out. I think the defense could help them here, but I think this is a team they can kind of outshoot a little bit, and I don't think they have it. I'm gonna take UCLA to win tonight. I really do wish the best for Indiana though if they're able to do this tonight, but I don't see it. We're into Saturday's action. This is what we're all gonna be looking at on Saturday. I'm gonna talk about all the ranked matchups first though because that's all I kind of care about right now. So first up, we're gonna go by time slots. Arkansas is playing number 8 A&M at on ESPN at A&M. Uh, Arkansas has been kind of lost this year against any ranked SEC team besides Alabama, which they almost had their number against a couple of days ago. I see A&M getting the win here. I'm sorry. I think A&M's going to win by at least 10. Arkansas just hasn't looked good this year. This will be a next year thing for Arkansas. I still think they have to keep building their team. Like I said, Boogie Flynn out for the season. It's a open gap that's missing for this team. A&M will win this one. Clemson, number 23 against Florida State at Florida State. Clemson, 3.5 point favorites. I think I like Clemson here to win this one. And it will be close. I don't think I think it's be low scoring but close. Clemson's a team to watch out for this year in March Madness, especially like I said earlier in my video. Um, Florida's just an okay team, but when you're okay in the ACC, you're just not good then. There's only three good teams, like I said earlier, kind of two. So I think Clemson's be able to take this one and get the win here at Florida State. Next up, Vandy versus number 5 Tennessee at Tennessee. Line is 13.5 for Tennessee to win. I don't think it's that big of a win. I think I did say that though earlier when they played another team a couple weeks ago, and then it was a 20 point. Oh yeah, when they played Florida, it was a 20 point game. So maybe don't quote me on that. But Tennessee did just lose to Kentucky. I think they're a rebound back big, and they got an easy chance to get to Vandy later this tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So give me Tennessee to win. I don't see anything really going wrong for them. It's very possible though, so don't quote me on that. Um, I will still take Tennessee to win though. Interesting game. I think I want to talk about. This might be a little crazy to talk about. There's an underrated game to look at tomorrow. You're damn crazy. You gotta take this up. St. Joe's at George Mason, Atlantic 10 matchup. The Atlantic 10 has filled in that spot for the ACC this year. Geez, this is a big ACC stricker video. I'm so sorry, ACC fans. But they've kind of filled in that gap for me that to satisfy the needs of the ACC because there are a lot of good teams in the Atlantic 10 that can definitely prove something and why I should get in. These are two of the top teams. St. Joe's 15-9, having a pretty good year overall. One of those faster teams that can play some ball, I feel like. Um, and one of the more efficient teams overall, I think. However, I think George Mason has it in the bag, honestly. I think it will be a little bit of a closer game than you expect. But George Mason, one of those better teams on defense. They're 25th on defense. That's what's been winning them these games. You know why they only have 5 losses this year. Give me George Mason to win this one. But do watch it if you do have time. I think it'll actually be a good one. But a game we have to talk about. Number 16 Wisconsin, number 7 Purdue. I made a prediction in my last video. I almost took Michigan to beat Purdue, switched it right back, and Michigan ended up winning. So, you know what? I would be confident about my pick this time. Purdue's at home. Purdue's been consistent. I'm going to take Purdue to win this one. I'm not switching it. I think Purdue's going to take it. I think that I got like award their consistency. Last time, I didn't take the upset, but I'm confident that they're going to win this time. At 1 o'clock, CBS. Make sure you watch. However, gotta talk about this one. This might be the second best game of the night. This is like before Alabama Auburn happens. Arizona Houston, number 6 Houston going against number 13 Arizona, who at the time was the hottest team in the whole country, Arizona, and then they lost to Kansas State out of nowhere. Who they've become the new kind of hottest team on the block. I feel like. So how do I feel about this game? I don't know. Houston, I think, is the most consistent team in all of college basketball right now. They have one of the top defenses, one of the top offenses. I will always say that from the bottom of my heart that they're always been one of the more consistent teams overall. However, there is definitely room for error here for Houston. I feel like you can't just right off a team that like Arizona, if they've been so hot this year, you gotta look at everything and take and see what's gonna happen. So here's what I think. It's gonna be whoever has the pace is who's gonna win this one, whoever has momentum. Arizona could take momentum easily in this game. They're at home. This is where they can succeed at. They're one of those faster teams. And while Houston is one of the slowest teams in the country, there's a little bit of an issue. Houston's offense is number 2. If Arizona's defense cannot come in clutch and do whatever they need to do and just take that one, I don't know how they're going to do it. Because Houston's ranked 2 in offense, ranked 2 in defense. I want to see how they're going to put that one up. Arizona has a decent shot to win this one, but you cannot go against the stats that Houston has been such a team that has been able to play consistent against every team this year that they should be able to take this one. Make it close. I know Arizona's going to pull away at the start, but I think in the second half, Houston's going to settle down and play basketball like they always do. Give me Houston to win this one tomorrow. That's going to be a good one, though. Make sure to tune in that one. That will be a good game to watch. Um, Next up, number 21 Missouri will take on Georgia at 3:30. Georgia, again, one of the teams that need to start getting momentum to win. I think this one's gonna be a close one. I think Georgia could actually pull away with this one. Like I said earlier, I think Georgia does have what it takes to win tomorrow. They're a team that they've been more the slower one of the slower teams, but they can play good at home too. I've been saying that a lot today. But Georgia could play good at home, and their defense is pretty good also. So I think if their defense can come in clutch, they will do good. However, Missouri is 11th right now. In like offensive consistency, pretty well. However, um, Georgia controls the game. I think they performed so good at home this year, and I think they're more consistent. If they can get hot, they can actually take this one. They're 6th while performing at home. This is what's the game that they can take. Give me the upset here. I'm gonna take Georgia to beat Missouri tomorrow. I have hope for Georgia to win this one. I think that SEC is really competitive right now, and Georgia's got to start making momentum if they want to win. I'll take them tomorrow to win against Missouri at home. Next up, Texas Tech versus Oklahoma State. Number 12, Texas Tech. Um, don't expect this one to be close. Texas Tech's going to win by a lot here. Oklahoma State, miserable in Big 12 play this year. They've only beaten Colorado like every other team has, Utah and Arizona State. And they also beat Kansas State. But it won't happen. Give me Texas Tech an easy win here for them and to keep trucking along. Yeah. We're gonna skip Auburn, Alabama till later because I want to get into that all by itself. So we'll talk about it later. Um, Stanford at Duke, number 3 Duke. Stanford 21 and a half point favorites. This game is on ABC. I hate that so much. It's just because Duke's like been the team to talk about this year. If like 90% the teams that you're gonna see on ESPN is always like Duke. But they have such easy matchups. It's not even like fun to watch. They're really trying to push Cooper Flag to be this big guy, this big star in the NBA. So they want to show him everywhere. So I don't blame them that they want to push that narrative. So for my pick here, I'm gonna take Duke. I don't even think I need to explain that one. Sorry, Stanford. Number 10, Iowa State versus Cincinnati. If this was maybe start of the season, I would actually be hyped for this. It's not hype anymore. Iowa State's met where they've found themselves after being on a little bit of a rough patch. They'll find this one. I'm not gonna hold against them. Iowa State will get the win here. Versus Cincinnati. Let's see. We got a rivalry game. Ole Miss, number 19, versus Mississippi State. Last time, this one came down to the wire. I mean the wire. It went to OT, and Ole Miss doing so good, fell apart last minute, wasn't able to get the win, and Mississippi State took it. Now, what are my opinions this time about the game? Well, I could take this in 2 ways. Ole Miss is either looking for a redemption story, and they want to win this one against Mississippi State to just get back on them for them losing earlier this year, or Mississippi State is going to be the team that takes it. They've been more hungry, and they want to actually get this. They want to get 2 wins against their so-called little brothers. So Ole Miss has been a consistent team this year. I feel like whenever they're playing, this is Ole Miss's game to get their get back. I feel last time they had everything going for them. They had to go to OT, and they were able to get it. Always, what kills Ole Miss is their rebounding. Their team is so small, and when I think they're gonna get to the tournament later this year, it could kill them because their team's so small. If they can't rebound, why should they win? Every time It's a rebounding game for Ole Miss. They'll never win it because their rebounding sucks. But I think they have what it takes to win here. Um, I think it's gonna be close at one point, but I think Ole Miss will start pulling away out of it with it in the end. Just overall more consistent team with shooting on offense and defense. Well, I just think Mississippi State's more of a what's the word offensive team than a defensive team. I think Ole Miss will take it tomorrow. Give me Ole Miss to win by maybe 5 or 6. I feel like they will be able to win this one. Oh, they'll tie it up a 1-1 in the series. Next up, this isn't even a ranked matchup. I'm just gonna talk about UNC Syracuse. I wouldn't want to watch this any day of the week. I think ACC basketball is horrible, but I want to talk about UNC for just a second. I just need to talk about them. UNC has everything right going in this game. They need to start getting wins if they even want to have a chance to make a tournament. But they got against Syracuse. Syracuse could be a competitive team. They're not having any chances of getting in, but their defense kind of sucks. Their offense kind of sucks. This is a good get back game for UNC to take everything and just pile it up on Syracuse to maybe get some momentum. It won't give them any resume builders, but I think it'll get them something that they can do. Give me UNC to win this one. They're on ESPN. I think they should take it off ESPN in my opinion. Nothing going good at that game. Um, then on Fox, number 11 Michigan State trying to bounce back after their loss to Indiana versus Illinois to get Tom Izzo's record-breaking win. I think they have this one in the bag. You would think, right? This is their, Izzo is probably a little bit mad that he wasn't able to get the record here. However, Illinois, big game hunting. They've been talking about it all year that they're trying to hunt, and they always come up big when it's around turning time. So, in my opinion, Illinois can always have the pace to win this game. They always can go fast. They have the defense to do it, and they always have something to do when they can play. I think Illinois, 12th in the country in offense, but they're 14th on defense also. Michigan State's offense has not been the best this year. I think Izzo's going to be hungry to win this one, but I think it's going to be competitive. I think this one's going to come down the wire. Give me Illinois to get the upset go against a struggling Michigan State right now. They weren't able to beat Indiana. It's going to be a lot harder for Michigan State to get their win that they wanted to. And it's going to be hard when they get a hungry Illinois who's trying to still crawl their way, getting back to being ranked. Give me the upset here for tomorrow. Number 15, Kentucky, going against unranked Texas at Texas on ESPN. Texas, big favorites in this one, actually. Can't even lie, I'm a little shocked about that. I didn't really do my research clearly if I'm a little shocked about them. Maybe there's there is an underlying injury. Lamont Butler got injured, I think, last game uh, versus Tennessee, and he didn't come back. They were still able to win the game, but never mind. I see why now. But this one's gonna be a good one. I still think Kentucky can take this one. I see why. I see why Texas could be a favorite though to win this one. Kentucky doesn't have their big guy, and they were still able to beat Tennessee without it though. Um, Kentucky is such a good offense this year, though. I think they still have what it takes to win this one. Even with their big man being out, I still think they'll take this one. Give me Kentucky to win, but it's gonna be close. It's gonna be close. I think with them having to play without their guy, it's gonna be a little tricky for them. And then we got Kansas, number 17 versus Utah. Not gonna be too close. I don't need to talk about this one too much. On ESPN also. Give me Kansas to win this one. I think they have to get back on track. They're losing against Kansas State. So yeah. That's it for all the main picks. Let's get to the big one. It's officially time to talk about it. Number 1 Auburn will be going into number 2 Alabama. Iron Bowl is going to decide who will be the new number 1. People earlier this week, including me, were saying I think Alabama should be ranked. They weren't, and no, people earlier in the week were saying, I think Alabama should be number 1, including me. I think Alabama should be number 1, just because Albert set such a big lead in the points that they were able to hold on by 7 points. Back. So this is gonna be the 45th matchup between the number 1 and number 2 ranked teams overall. Gonzaga back in 2021 went against number 2 UCLA, and Gonzaga killed them by 20 points. This will be different though. First ever 1 versus 2 matchup in the SEC. Tickets are going for like sales on $300 just to see this game. Um, Auburn and Alabama have met a total of 22 times during regular season play, and this is going to be interesting. It gives a chance of Alabama and their team to prove, and Grant Nelson and Mark Sears that they have what it takes to be number one now. They should have been number one last week, in my opinion, with all this dropping happened, with Duke losing, with Auburn losing to Florida. It should have happened. It did. But now I have a chance to prove itself by if they take down uh, Auburn tomorrow. Now, let's get into like details and stuff of how I feel this game will necessarily play out. All right. Alabama, much faster. They're the fastest team in the country when they play basketball. They're first in pace. Take that into consideration when I talk about this team. Just put in the back of your head. Um, Auburn's losses this year have came to two reasons, and there's been two reasons why they've lost here. They lost to two teams this year. They lost to Duke earlier in the year, and they also lost to Florida recently. The reasons why they lost to those teams, defense. Their defense was amazing. They're both top 5 in defense this year, and it clearly shows why. Because if you play really good defense on Auburn, you'll get the win. As much as I want to take Alabama to win this one, the defense doesn't stack up for me here. They're 30th in defense. I don't think the defense has what it takes to win here. And I really wish that I could say, Alabama does have what it takes to win here. If their defense isn't strong enough and Auburn's able to just shoot all these just balls here, I think it should be easy. Auburn first in the country in the offense. I mean, I understand that they're 10th in defense, but even if Alabama's 4th in the country in offense, that defense is just such an underwhelming look that I don't know what to do. Here's my take on this. If Alabama could come in hot, come out playing really consistent and do something, it should be even. It might be by a basket or two what separates them for the win. If they can't do that, and if it's like at least like a 8.88 or like higher game at halftime, don't let them catch up. If their defense it doesn't look good at the start, there's no way. I hope they're working on defense because this is gonna be a good one. For my pick, I'm gonna take number 1 Auburn to beat number 2 Alabama. I want Alabama to win. I just think Auburn's made too much. And I think it's because of that offense. If that defense is not working, I don't think they have a chance at winning. I'm not saying it's an awful defense, but we're against one of the best teams in the country. You have to put on every stop you have to do to get the win. I think Auburn's going to take this one against Alabama. I don't think it's going to drop either team in spots. Obviously, with this being said, this won't hurt them if they lose. If they lose by a lot, maybe a different story. But I don't think they lose by a lot. I'm feeling more like a 4 to 5 point game. I just don't think if you fall behind against the Auburn team that's that good, you will catch up. So that's my take on this game. And I'm very excited about it for tomorrow. And with that being said, let's just move into Sunday and talk about briefly, and then we'll be done about talking about basketball. We got number 14 Memphis versus Wichita State at Wichita State. Wichita State has not been good that much this year. I mean, they've lost 4 straight against teams, but then they won 3 straight. After that, one of them was including Memphis, and they only lost by 8. However, Memphis has just been a really good team. They're ranked 14th in the country. For a reason, I'll take Memphis to beat Wichita State on ESPN. And Michigan, number 20th, ranked against Ohio State. The line currently has Ohio State to beat Michigan. Michigan's going off of a really good win against Purdue. I mean, you could say what you want about Michigan right now, but I think they have the momentum going into this game. I think they do have what it takes to win. So in my take, I'm gonna take Michigan to win this one versus Ohio State. I do like Ohio State to do something though and maybe get Michigan a little bit flustered. This is a big rivalry, and it's one for a reason. Another good game my friend did tell me about, and I was like, well, I don't like it because I think the Big East is kind of trash this year. Still do think that, but number 24 Creighton At number 9, St. John's, Madison Square Garden. Gonna be a good one. Gonna be a good one. Creighton was one of the highest teams. Just came up short against UConn. Dan Hurley hates Creighton with all their heart. So it's always a good time when they see that. UConn was able to bounce back. Creighton gotta go against the St. John's team, which is one of the best defenses here. For my pick, St. John's lost to Villanova by a bucket or two. I don't think it's gonna affect them too much. I think they'll get right back on track. Creighton, unfortunately, is gonna lose another one here. I think St. John's has it. But don't write out Creighton too fast. I think it's gonna be by a bucket or two that they lose by. Maybe by like 5 or 4. So finally we're gonna talk about Maryland versus Iowa. I don't really care about talking about this one. Maryland's gonna win. Iowa's just not that good this year. I mean, they always can do something if they really need to, but no, not really too much. And that game is at 5 o'clock because the rest of the games after are kind of hard to watch, and we'll get overshadowed anyway by the All Star game later that night on Sunday. So there's no point watching any of these. Even my Rutgers is playing Oregon, I probably won't be watching. So yeah, that's it for all the college basketball this week. We will see once we get into who wins and everything, how the bubble will shape up. Time is ticking. After Super Bowl has been done, we are now officially going to see who is going to make the tournament in a couple of weeks. Time is ticking, and everyone is excited. So who's going to make it? Who's not going to make it? Who's going to win in Alabama or Auburn? Put it down below in the comments. And next video, I'm going to be talking about your hot takes. So, if you have any, just hit me up on my Instagram. Hit me up on the Instagram. Link in the description. For the Instagram. Just give me a bunch of them. I'm going to be reacting to each one, how much I feel about it. I'll give you some of mine. You guys heard me talking about the ACC a little earlier. And you know how I feel after this video. But with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.